Hey, hi guys, welcome all. This is Vikas here. Let's get started for today. Now, before I start today, a quick introduction about me. My name is Vikas, and I work as a senior cloud architect in one of the big four companies here in Bangalore. And I am a passionate guy who wants to teach and share the knowledge with you and many others who want to learn. I am well versed with DevOps technologies like Git, Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform. I have good expertise on AWS, GCP, Azure. That's all about me. Overall, I have 13 years of IT experience. So nice to see you all here. Now, today we will be discussing about AWS and DevOps. Now, why AWS and DevOps? So before jumping into the topic, let me go ahead and take a glance at what is the agenda for today's session. So today we will be talking about DevOps. Why do I need DevOps? What is DevOps? I will be talking about AWS. What is AWS? Why do I need AWS? I will be talking about CI/CD pipelines. I will be talking about AWS DevOps components. I will be talking about CI/CD pipeline in AWS, and hands-on will be followed by at the end of the session. Let's get started. Moving ahead, why DevOps? Now, to understand why DevOps, we need to understand what are we doing or what have we done in our IT industry. So in our IT industry, we used to develop or we are developing softwares. Now customer will come to me. Let me give you an example. There is a customer and he has got a contract to distribute COVID-19 vaccines. So he will come to me and he will say that I got a contract to distribute COVID-19 vaccines. Can you develop a software for me? This software is nothing but a website and a mobile application. When you run it on mobile or you run it on web, you should be able to see the slots available for vaccine. If the slots are available based on his area code, he should be able to book that slot, and when booking, he should be able to do the payment. So I need a website which is simple, secure, and time to market is something which I'm also talking about. When I say time to market, I'm simply saying how much time will you need to develop this software. Now, there is always a sense of urgency nowadays with the client, where the client says, I want it as soon as possible. Earlier, clients would give us time, 6 months, 8 months, and we take our own sweet time and develop software. But now, customers are very much honest and they say that I need it fast. And the problem is, if you are not giving the software, then the competitors will give. It means lose business. So to stay relevant, you need to be competent enough. So earlier, when we used to develop software, we used to follow waterfall model. What is a waterfall model? So like water falling from the cliff of mountain, once it is down, it cannot go up. Similarly, here we had distinct phases. Each phase was clearly defined and it was distinct from other. Like coding is one phase, testing is one phase. Once coding is done, then testing will start. Testing is done, then deployment will start. So it was time consuming. So this is what I'm talking about. We had a requirement gathering phase. So my solution architects, my seniors will go on site, they will ask the customer what you want, they will gather all the requirement and they will pass on the requirement to who was sitting here in the offshore. The design done by the architect, where he will say which programming language to use, what work to be done, how the website has to be developed, all the details will be there in the design. Once the contract is signed, design is approved by customers, we start implementing that, we start coding that. So let me say I have to use Java for coding, so I start development in Java and I write the codes for that. Once the coding is done, we do unit testing, integrated testing, system testing, all kind of things, and then we are ready to deploy to prod. Once it's deployed to prod, then will be maintenance team who will be sitting and doing the maintenance work. Means in case any problems arise, they will raise a ticket. The problem with this waterfall model was that it is time consuming. It is very risky because today the client requires a software. You are saying come after 6 months and you do after 6 months. Now, this is a problem. So a project where it is frequently changing, it is not suitable. There's a high amount of risk involved because the customer's requirement change. And once the code in test phase and they realize that something went wrong, they have to start all over from scratch again. So basically what I see that this is not the right way to work. Now, if this is not the right way, then what's next? From there, we move to agile methodology. So when I say agile, what we see is that we have a big application which we break into small pieces, and in each sprint we take one module and we say that we will work on the story and we'll deliver it to the client. So the client is also happy. Okay, something is happening. They are delivering in parts. Okay, so here it's iterative way of working. So you first discover what you want to do, then you design, then you develop and test and give it back. Then design, develop, test, design, develop, test. So it's iterative way of working, and at the end of each iteration or at the end of each sprint, your working product should be delivered to the client. So when I say a sprint may be for 2 weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks. But a sprint is a definite period of time. 2 weeks, 4 weeks is a standard. Here is good. It's good, better than waterfall model, but still not very good. So if you see a waterfall model, it is the same linear approach. But in agile, there is a spy way of progressing, there is iterative way of progressing. But the biggest problem we see in agile methodology is a wall of confusion. If you see here in between, there is a wall of confusion between these two ways. So as a developer, you know what you are developing, what code you have written, what testing you have done. You are very confident about the code which you have written. But when the code goes to the prod environment, you will see the code has failed, and then the prod support team is saying, take it back. I don't know what code you have written. You try to run the same code in your dev region and you see that it is working perfectly fine. So you push it back and saying that, see, the code is working fine in my laptop, check out your server. So again it checks and again it fails. Now the problem here is not that the code is not written correctly. The problem here is that me as a developer, I don't understand what's happening at the support end. Support guy sitting at the support end does not understand what is happening at the development edge, development side. So this is the problem. So whenever the code is failing, we think that the code is failing because of some syntax issues or functional issues, but that's not the case. Let me say the products or the software which you got in prod region is very much different from the one you have developed in your own region. Now let me say in my own region, I have developed the same software in AWS machine. Okay, and that AWS machine is on Linux. So again, if I try to run it here, it will not work because compatibility issues will come. So what I'm trying to do here is that I see that is a change in environment. The way it is working in dev may not be same, it is working prod. So because of change in environment, their problem arises. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring my development and operations together in such a way that both of them can work together and resolve the problems together. So if both of them work together, then there are less chances that I get failure messages and all, you can test it in there and work will move faster. So DevOps means integration of development as operations. We jump to the DevOps world, you can see there are a lot of tools available in the market. Like you have Gradle and Maven, just to build a code. You have Jira, SVN, Bitbucket, just to keep the code, Bamboo, Hudson, Jenkins, just to store the CI/CD pipeline. So like this, you see for each stage there are ample amount of tools available. Now, can I learn all the tools? The answer is no, I cannot learn all the tools. So what I do is I pick the most widely used tools and I start working with that. So when I say I will be working with DevOps and DevOps and cloud, things seriously becomes easy for me. It says bring products faster rate to the market. So time to market, the first problem which I had, time to market, is reduced because the services of AWS DevOps are already present. So you don't have to install anything, you simply plug and start using it. You say complexity and maintenance of the server. So this is exactly what your server maintenance is. In case you want to migrate out, and I will take care of all complexities and maintainability of the servers. Security will be good. There will be no downtime in the sense that when the system is under maintenance, and the stability will increase. It's more if I need 10,000 people, I can hire 10,000 people, and once I need them, I simply say, okay, 100 people, something like this. Okay. So we spoke about DevOps, but why are we talking about AWS? Now, if you see carefully, we are talking about Jenkins server, CI/CD server, Git server, Ansible server. So where will we get the servers from? So the server and the pre-configuration we will get from, we are going to take all these things from our cloud. Okay. So AWS for me is a secure cloud service platform which offers compute power, database storage, content delivery, and other functionalities to help a business scale and grow. So if you see carefully here, we are talking about business because if the business grows, then only I will also grow along with the business. So here I compute power, database, content delivery, all the components which I need, I get everything on AWS. Having said that, let's take a broader look at AWS, what all it is going to offer us. So in AWS, you get compute power, basically your CPU, RAM, and all those things. Suppose you have some content which is running on-prem, you want to push it to AWS, you can do that. Storage. So companies like Netflix, Facebook, they have a huge amount of data. They want to store it on cloud. Yes, cloud gives you unlimited storage. Networking and content delivery. So Netflix is working on AWS. So the biggest thing which you can see is Netflix you can access from anywhere. You just need internet connectivity and you get the data. Why? Because the data is sitting somewhere in the cloud. Then management tools, like everything will be internally managed by these management tools. Database just to store your database. Then you have messaging, like SNS, SQS, so that if there is a failure, you come to know exactly what's happening. Then security and identity policy, so that the data is not hacked or there's no problem in preserving the data. So why structured learning? Why should you join Edureka? Edureka provides a structured way of learning. There are some distinct, well-trained professionals which have designated this course roadmap for you, where they have seen hundreds and thousands of students getting benefited by following this path. So if you see here, there are 10 components which I need to learn, and one by one, if I learn them, I will be a full-fledged DevOps engineer. So we start with the first module, which is AWS, introduction to AWS. Then we talk about security in AWS, then Amazon issue, then storing component of S3, load balancing, auto scaling, profitability, networking of VPC. We talk about configuration management of Ansible, and finally, DevOps is implemented at the cloud level by AWS. Finally, if you learn all these, you become a full-fledged DevOps engineer. Now, as a DevOps engineer, you will be doing many tasks, you will be writing many scripts. But one of the foremost important things which you should do here is that you should learn how to automate things. Now, to automate things, I will take something called CICD pipeline. So, when I say CICD pipeline, it is continuous integration, continuous delivery. There are somebody who say continuous deployment, so because deployment has to be done abroad. So you can say either of that, CICD pipeline, and when you say CICD pipeline, it can be continuous integration or continuous delivery. So basically, to me, CICD means that I made some changes, I want to push it to prod code base. But because I have to push it to prod code base, I need hundreds and thousands of approval. But once you go ahead and implement all these DevOps principles or AWS on DevOps things, you will hardly need somebody to go ahead and push it to approve so that it can be pushed. So you can easily take a control and you can start your work. Okay. Now AWS DevOps components. So here we will learn about components like AWS code commit, code pipeline, code build, code deploy code star. Now if you see the outside world, AWS code commit is nothing but my Git, AWS code pipeline is nothing but Jenkins, AWS code build is Ansible, AWS code deploy, so deployment part is taken care by the tool, and AWS code star is again an important module which will help you to run those applications. So basically you can start using the services of AWS because it is secure, scalable, and Git based repo can easily be supported here. Now how do we commit a code? So what we do is we take a copy of the code which is there in GitHub. Okay, we bring it to our local repo. So this is what I am saying. You do git clone and you receive the clone request. Means once you say okay, it will allow you to take a backup. See here. So it has taken the backup, but then local repo creates and syncs. It will not be able to do it because it is still under sync process. And after the sync is complete, you can go ahead and do your work. Apart from that, there will be a development machine where you will be developing your codes, and then using AWS code commit console or CLI, you will do a AWS code commit, after which a repository will be created and the code will be pushed to whichever environment you want to, dev environment. So it will go to dev environment. Now, when we talk about AWS code pipeline, there are n number of tools which are inbuilt and available here. So with code pipeline, you process your you automate your process, you make right choice of the tools, and you say resistant release. So the release will be foolproof, and the provider's history means something which you don't need will not be shown to you. Okay. So AWS Cloud Pipeline is a combination of continuous integration, continuous delivery services for quicker and more reliable infrastructure and application updates. Yes, you can create this by your own hands, but then it will take much more time. So if you are in a kind of rush to complete everything, you can use Code Pipeline. And at the end of the day, you will see that the performance of Code Pipeline is much better than your other pipelines which you have created. So how does code pipeline work? Now, as a developer, first you will make the changes, right? Once you have made the changes, you will commit the changes. You go to Git and say git commit -m, and then whatever message you want to give. Once the commit is done, you take the code and you build the code. So build the code is compiling the code and checking for syntax. So you write whatever you need to, and then in your code, and then you build the changes. Means you commit your changes and you run it against a build tool. This build tool keeps everything in staging area, and then it is deployed to testing region. Obviously there will be a process of manual approval in between before it goes to prod, and the pod owner or someone like that will go ahead and tell that okay, this COT or this item can be displayed on the production servers. So it is ideal for request and bugs, and those bugs and stuffs are changed and fixed and moved to production without any much of a effort. Not only that, you can use other modules like code build, where you can use the automated test cases. You can run it on the code build application, produce live deployable code. So at the end of the code build, once the code is compiled successfully, there will be an artifact generated. This artifact is nothing but it will tell you how much work is done, how much work is pending, and all those things. Okay. Then the third component here is code deploy. So code deploy is nothing but you are ready to deploy the code to a particular server. So you can say, okay, fine, deploy this code to this particular server. So if it's the EC2 machine, it will run on premises anywhere. And these code deploy technologies all are Lambda in technique. So you should import your Boto3, and after this is done, you can store your code in the ECS service. ECS is Elastic Container Service. So it is like Docker Hub, where you can go ahead and keep all your stuffs. Now, how does the deployment work? Now, why do we deploy? Now, let me say that you are studying 1 full year to write an exam, and with the exam results, you'll pass or fail. So obviously, it is very important for me to write the exam. Similarly, when we are preparing for exam, and then at the end of the day, we have to write the exam so that we appear in the exam and we go ahead and pass the exam. Similarly, when we write a code, we are writing a code to make our changes. The deployment has to be done so that I can deploy my final changes to prod environment. So here I start here. So let me just highlight this thing. So here is where I start. I start creating the application. Then I deploy this application for testing purpose to specific deployment group. Okay. And this specific deployment group, I can go ahead and manipulate it or work it with Ansible, tools like Ansible. Once I deploy it to a certain set of servers, I'm confident it will work. Then in case some changes are needed, I will deploy the update version. Finally, I deploy it to the prod server. And once I deploy to the prod server, I check the results. If the results are okay, it goes good. Not okay, then it is deployed back my server or wherever it has to be changed. So this is how I deploy code. So when you deploy the code deployment can be done in two ways. It can be either manual deployment or it can be an automated deployment. If you go with the manual deployment, it will be a time-consuming process. I'll always try to go for an automated deployment so that things can easily move for me. Okay. Okay. So let me log into my console. So go here and say I'm looking for this guy, code pipeline. These are the stages where we are talking about. First is source. Source is nothing, but it will tell you where your code is present. So you can tell where your code is. If your code is already there, okay, you can come here and say create pipeline. Source is where code is already present. Artifact is where you want to store your code after it is compiled. Code build is how, with which tool or how you compile your code. Deploy means where do you want to put your code, and pipeline is something which you're seeing right now. So come here, say create pipeline, and give a pipeline name like demo pipeline. Okay, and you can create a new service role. So in Amazon, there's something called IAM roles. IAM roles is nothing but in case you want to, one service of AWS wants to talk to other service of AWS, we need this IAM roles. And let's go ahead and next. Now it says source. Who is the source? Is the code in S3? The code is in GitHub. So GitHub has two versions here, so you can say where your code is. So if you say GitHub, you have to tell where your repos. So something like this will be there. So you have to connect GitHub. Okay, I cannot connect from here because this is not my personal laptop. So just connect GitHub. You connect to GitHub. Then once you go and connect yourself with GitHub, in the next section, I think will allow me to go. Wait a second. Let me take some other thing S3. So it says in which bucket your code is there. Let me see. Here, which one is there? I don't think anything is here. Let me just come back. Okay, so you should have the code here in zip format. As of now, I don't have any code. Once the code is there, you can go ahead and say next. When you say next, it goes to the third stage where it talks about build or compiling the code. So you say which tool will you use to compile the code. Here you can use Jenkins or things like that. And then finally you use deploy stage. Deploy means to which server would you like to go ahead and deploy it. And finally you review everything and save it. And once you save it, you will go ahead and create a pipeline for you. So pipeline is nothing but, come here, code pipeline on AWS. So pipeline will be a series of activities, and you trigger the first one and automatically it will go trigger the next set of activities. Maybe something like this. Like come to your code here, it will do all the work. It will go stage test where testing will happen, and the testing is complete, the code will move to prod automatically, and you can achieve your code pipeline or the CICD pipeline task. How much we can learn? See, if you go ahead, there are 30 hours of session needed for AWS and 36 hours of session needed for DevOps. So it is 30 and 36. Okay. So guys, here I complete my demo. So fine guys, I'll drop now. See you then guys. Bye bye.